All right, so finishing up our chapter 3, so 3.3, and now we're going to get into this one idea that comes off of our tables. So it's this idea of independence versus association. So when we look at and when we compare the conditional distributions in a contingency table, we can also ask if there is an independence or association. All right, so blank happens when the distribution of one variable is almost the same for all categories of another variable, and then blank happens when one variable is different for at least one category of the other variable. So you should be able to find these answers in your readings, so make sure you guys are reading that. So your reading here will start on page 29, and it's a pretty short one, really only goes to 31. And then you'll have questions to fill those in. All right, independence versus association. So we've spent a lot of time talking about the Titanic and alive or dead. And so now what we've done is this is the count per column, which means that we are going down. And so based on this, these percentages all are based on that total as we go down. So we've had this discussion. If you were to choose, what group would you want to be in if you wanted to survive? So we've had a little bit of that when we looked individually, and we had that discussion of, well, crew looked good in one and then it looked really bad in the other. So here we definitely have a better picture of what group would you want to be in. And so kind of answering that question, if there is a group that you would want to be in, that would be, there's an association. So here, you're more likely to survive if you were in first class. So if you kind of think of association, is there something that you're more likely to be in or less likely to be in, then there's an association. Independence would mean it really did not matter. So here we see that the distribution of class for the survivors is different from that of non-survivors. So this leads us to believe that class and survival are, and that they are not. So again, you'll fill those in. And so independence and association, the variables would be considered independent when the distribution of one variable in a contingency table is the same for all categories of that other variable. So if we look across the table, like our one we saw with the Titanic, if all those numbers were the same, then that would be what we call independent.